Social media companies should take full legal responsibility for offensive and abusive material that appears on their platforms. That's according to an independent report commissioned by the Prime Minister. It found that social media was the most significant factor in driving harassment and intimidation of candidates in the general election. Our media editor Amal Rajan reports.
Many MPs have faced horrific abuse on social media platforms, and Twitter in particular. Stella Creasy endured a torrent of hatred after supporting a campaign for Jane Austen to be on the new £10 note. After posters of Maria Caulfield MP were defaced, she too suffered a sustained campaign of intimidation on social media.
I guess it started around the time of the Syria vote, and it really ramped up then, and the election that we just had earlier this year is kind of when it really peaked. But you know, on a day-to-day basis, it's routine to get abuse, threats. I've had several death threats. I've had my tyres slashed outside my home. I've had my office graffitied with threats.
The man who leads the Committee on Standards in Public Life wants to see tech companies take greater responsibility.
We weren't impressed by their takedown rates. We weren't impressed by their performance data. We do know that they are trying to do some good things, but we think there has to be at least a discussion in Parliament about the way in which they actually operate.
Twitter says it has introduced new tools to help users. The company is now taking action on 10 times the number of accounts every day compared to the same time last year, and using new technology to suspend thousands of abusive accounts. But while the report contains familiar statements about doing more to remove offensive material, it doesn't make clear how shifting legal responsibility for harmful content onto the companies would actually work. The sheer scale of material uploaded online, with 400 hours going on Google-owned YouTube every single minute, means that this stuff is impossible to control fully. And even if it were practical, asking the likes of Facebook to censor material before it's published would fundamentally change the nature of the open web. The report's recommendations will now be considered by the government, who will then decide what, if any, action to take. A consensus is emerging that tech giants should take greater responsibility for harmful material, but there is no consensus on how.